I sat the AKT in the January of my ST2 year, which was actually just before I started my first post in general practice. And I think it can work either way really. If you've done general practice already, there'll be lots of things that you've learned which will be useful for the AKT. But I found revising for the AKT a really good way of preparing myself for my first post in general practice. So I think either way around works. It's a little bit unusual. I'd never done an exam before, sat in front of a computer apart from when I'd done my driving test, so it's a bit strange. And the people who run the exam are not GPs, they don't know anything about general practice training, they purely run the computer centre. So, but it's quite straightforward. The exam, the process, the computer takes you through the process very easily, so it's not problematic.
I sat the AKT, I ended up having to sit it twice actually. I failed the first time. I did mainly online question banks. And a bit of the reading of the NICE guidance that had come out in the sort of preceding 6 to 9 months. Definitely didn't do enough work the first time. I probably started really hitting the revision 4 to 6 weeks before, and it just proved not to be enough. Second time round, a good 3 months, quite solid revision, and sailed through quite comfortably that time. So it was just knowing how much work you need to do, and it's a relatively tough exam, but a fair exam. It was the first exam I'd sat since med school finals, and it's just getting back in that mindset of hitting the books really was the tough bit. The actual AKT on the day was quite simple and straightforward. Turned up with everything you needed at the test centre, very calm and quiet, and sort of led to your computer and just got on with it really. Everything seemed to work all right, no major issues.
I sat the AKT in my second year of the GP training programme. Lots of people sit it at different times. Most people sit it towards the end of the second year or the start of the third year. I thought that I really wanted to get it done and out the way and feel that I'd really got that under my belt before I went into my registrar year for the third year, so I could focus on the other components of the examination. But again, lots of preparation. I think the best preparation for the AKT is doing lots and lots of questions to pick out the areas of knowledge that I thought, oh gosh, I need to look at that a bit more. But practice makes perfect, I suppose, and I managed to pass it first time, so that was good. It's a bit like doing a driving test, because it's the same place where you go and have your theory test. So you go in and you register online beforehand, and you sit with a sort of touchscreen computer, and you go through the questions one at a time. I think you have 3 hours to do the paper, and it seemed really well organised. You're with a big group of other people. You're not allowed to sort of eat or drink or speak, so it can be quite a sort of daunting process getting through that whole 3 hours of questions. But once it's done, you think, oh, just wait for the results.